Hey guys, welcome to gwhisky. I'm Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below, and with that out of the way, let's jump into our review. Today we're doing the Mortlach 12. Stick around. Okay, so we're looking at a Mortlach 12 today, and I think this is only the second time I've ever looked at a Mortlach on this channel. I have done a review of the 16 before, and that was ages ago, and I've not come back to the brand since then, which is kind of strange because I really do like Mortlach, but they don't have much of a range. Actually, that's not true. They do have plenty of whiskeys out there, but they don't have a lot of whiskeys that I can afford. You know, I can afford stuff up to the 16, which is not cheap, but it's, you know, not too expensive. And anything over 16 years old from Mortlach is ridiculously expensive. For example, we have an 18-year-old here in Taiwan. I think it's a Taiwan exclusive, and it's more than double the price of the 16. So I guess something really expensive happened in those last 2 years in the casks. And listen, I've tried the 18-year-old. It's really good. I'm not going to buy it. Beyond that, there's a 20-year-old. That one's a broad release. And that one, at least here, is more than triple the price of the 16. So a bit of a trend here. So clearly this is another case of Diageo and their pricing shenanigans. I did script a rant for this part of the video, but it's very long, it's very in-depth. What I'll do, I'll just post it here and you can read it through if you like. Now, Mortlach is also usually part of Diageo's special releases that they put out every year, and in a shocking twist of events, those are also very overpriced. They do have a 14. I think that might be a travel retail exclusive. That one is not too crazily priced, and I might pick it up at some point, but I haven't tried it yet. So fine, correction there, they do have quite an expansive core range, just not one that I can afford. The whiskeys that I can afford are the 12, the 14, and the 16. Anything beyond that, and I'd have to start selling organs. And I like my organs. I want to keep them. Not sure my organs like me, though. Liver might have some opinions. I'm kidding there, I'm perfectly healthy. Also, please drink responsibly, and while we're at it, you should probably eat more broccoli. It's packed with antioxidants. Anyway, back to our 12 here. This one was matured in European ex-sherry casks and ex-bourbon casks. It's called the gwhisky because they have an experimental still at Mortlach called the gwhisky, and an undisclosed amount of whiskey from that still went into this. Now, if you don't know much about Mortlach, it's known for being a very meaty and savory style of whiskey that works very well with sherry casks. They're one of a handful of distilleries in Scotland that uses worm tubs, and worm tubs tend to give us a more like rich and robust flavor profile. And like I said, I'm a fan of this brand, so our 12-year-old actually might work out nicely here. Let's jump into our review and find out. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. So for specs, we've got the Diageo Special here. This one comes in at 43.4%. It is colored and it is chill filtered. Not ideal. So I quite like these bottles. I think they do pop off the shelf. I like the Art Deco style. I like the broad shoulders. I think the label looks nice, like a blue label with gold accents. It all works for me. I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 for presentation. Unsurprisingly, nothing about color or chill filtration. Why would you brag about that? The back of the label on the neck tells us it's bourbon and sherry casks, and beyond that, we get absolutely no information on the bottle. I don't have the box. There might be more there, although I doubt much of use as it is Diageo. The bottle looks nice. On the nose, we do get a little bit of that meaty, savory element, but it's somewhat muted. I suppose that has to do with the lower ABV. Our sherry is rich, it's spicy. We definitely do get that European oak influence here. I'm getting salted caramel, almonds, marzipan. We do get some nice malty notes with like cereal and barley. There's some very gentle grassiness in here. It's actually quite a nice nose. For the palate and finish, our arrival is a little bit on the lighter side. I'm getting honey, sherry, malt, marzipan, spices. There's a beautiful saltiness here. It's kind of like an olive juice saltiness. Our finish is somewhat short on blood oranges, nuts, and berries. So I've had a few bottles of this over the years, and I remember the first time that I tried it, expectations were kind of low. And those low expectations were met. I didn't think it was a bad whiskey, but I thought it was competent, but forgettable. And that's always a bad sign when the thing you remember the most about a whiskey is that it's forgettable. As enthusiasts, that's not the kind of whiskey that we're looking for. We deserve better. And by deserve, I mean want. I don't know what you deserve. I don't know you. Anyway, I did end up coming back to this bottle a couple times over the years, and I did slowly start to appreciate it more, although it was never really a standout for me. The reason I bought this bottle is because I was at the airport and I was on my way to, I think it was Thailand a few months back, and whiskey in Thailand is horrendously overpriced, so I wanted to grab a bottle here before I left so I could drink it over there. And I ended up going through a good chunk of this stuff in Thailand, and I thoroughly enjoyed it over there. And then I brought it back here, and I'm still enjoying it. This is good. And I don't think it's the whiskey that's changed over the years. I think it's more me. I think this is the type of profile that over time I've started to appreciate more. If you go back and look at some of the early reviews on this channel, I'll talk about how much I love sherry, and at the time I was into big sherry, deep sherry, sherry bombs, and that's just less the case nowadays. I like sherry as an influence in the whiskey, but I don't want it to dominate. And I think this one does that nicely. And of course, that's not to say it isn't sherry forward. It is. I'm just saying there's a lot of other elements in here that I appreciate. I love that olive juice saltiness. I love the savory elements in this. I like the European oak influence that imparted a lot of spices. It's more textured than I thought it would be. It's pretty good. I should clarify though that I like this as an entry-level whiskey. It's not a great whiskey, but I think for a sherry 12-year-old that isn't too expensive, it's one of the better ones. Now, of course, if you're looking for bigger, louder sherry, you can go for a Glendronach or a Glenallachie. Like I said, this is actually more my speed these days, and I do prefer it. Like, I do appreciate it when we get a sherry-forward whiskey, but it still has a lot of character underneath all that, and this one is very Mortlach. We do get the house style, we get that DNA. For me, it's just so much more interesting than just loading up a whiskey with the most active sherry cask you can find. I'm sorry, that gets boring. Hold on, that wasn't very Canadian of me. I'm sorry, that gets boring. Now, predictably, the issue I do have with this is the ABV. It does hurt the whiskey. It could be more substantial. I think our finish is too short, so of course I do have to hit the button. Modi, 43 bad, 46 good. Come on, Modi. So yeah, I do like this one, and I like it more than most of the reviews that I've seen online for it. I don't think it's an average whiskey. I think it's above average. I don't think it's an amazing whiskey, just there we go, above average. My score here is going to be 85. The thing about this stuff, though, is that I do understand some of the criticisms. I don't necessarily agree with them, but I definitely get where people are coming from. I've seen a lot of people call this a little bit boring, dull, generic. I think it's none of those things. I do think it's an interesting whiskey. I do think it has character, but it's not going to sweep you off of your feet. And no, it can't hang with the big boys. It's not the best of the best when it comes to entry level. But in terms of price, flavor, reachability, I am enjoying it. For value, in my market, this is slightly pricey for a 12-year-old, although not over the top. And like I said, I do enjoy it more than most other entry-level 12-year-olds out there. So while I wouldn't say it's cheap considering what you're getting, I don't think it's too expensive considering what you're getting either. I'm okay with the price, and yes, I would buy it again. And of course, we do have to keep in mind that prices vary across different markets, and I might not be paying what you're being asked to pay for it. Here in Taiwan, this costs just over 40 US dollars, roughly 32 plus pounds, and I do think you're getting some good quality whiskey for that price. Okay, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help support the channel, I do have the Patreon. Otherwise, you can like, comment, subscribe. Always appreciated, and I do want to hear from you. Have you tried our Mortlach 12? Have you tried the 16? Have you tried the 14? What's your favorite from the Mortlach range? You can let me know that down below. Finally, down below in the comments, you can tell me what you want to see me review next, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.